Okay everybody, this is the complete attempted transformation process of Iron Factory's Samurai Prowl, known as oniheizou. I did say attempted, I mean it as a sort of half-hearted joke, but this figure is beautiful. The transformation process itself is not too difficult. This is only going to be the transformation process. However, it just pops apart and falls off. If everything stayed where it was supposed to, you would be, as I say, you probably wouldn't even need this video, but I'm doing this for two reasons. One, to show people the transformation process, and two, to reassure everybody that it's probably not just theirs, or if what's happening to mine does happen to yours, it's remediable. You can still manage to transform him. So without further ado, and that's probably the biggest introduction I've ever given to a transformation process, let's have a go and hope that it's not too bad. Right, separate the roof of the car like that and lift this right up and out of the way. What we can then do is then take this part, which is going to be the front, and very carefully when you do this, make sure you push this all the way forward to give yourself clearance to lift over the head. If you catch it, it will knock it off. I'm not joking, but it does just attach, no problem, but you will knock it off, be aware of that. Then turn your attention to the shoulders. There's a little cutout there and there's a little tab. We're just going to line that up and just keep the actual arms way up and out of the way for now. So same principle on this side, roll that over, attach it, bring the arms out of the way, and then of course you can cover up the head. Now you'll notice that this part here is on like a hinge which moves backwards and forwards. It's up when it's in robot mode, it needs to be all the way back when it's in the alternate mode. But let's start to build the shell of this car up. So turn the wings and join these together like so. Again, you can see this is going to be the back of the vehicle. Be aware that there is a waist swivel, so it does start to move. And as you can see, sometimes this pops off. Super. You're going to see this happen quite a lot on lots of pieces, which is just so unfortunate. Right, now it does suggest to do this a lot later on in the instructions, but it's way easy to do it now. Hold the silver part and rotate at the thigh a full 180 degrees. If you do this now, it's pretty much out of the way. It suggests you doing it a lot later on, to be honest, when half the car's built up and there's just no space. Right, let's fold this down out of the way. We're not going to attach anything, but this should now give us a bit of clearance to bring this back. What we need to do in the meantime, these again are on ball and sockets, but be careful. Rotate them around, so all the way around. In fact, let's come in. So let's come right in. I'm holding there because sometimes it will pop out. What we need to do is get the black bit down to the front like so. So if I spin that around, in fact, I'm going to go all the way around like so. Make sure it's got its clearance. Rotate there and then bring it underneath. Perfect. It managed to stay in position. Sometimes it doesn't. So what we're looking to do is get that facing down with the silver on the inside. So if we repeat that on this side, fold it in. Did that pop out? No, it stayed inside. Turn it out and then rotate these down. If it pops out, guys, it will just literally pop out of there and you can push it straight back in. Don't be surprised if yours does. Okay, now let's push this down. This is going to be the front of the vehicle. So let's bring this down and over and start to line it up. If you knock any of the parts out, you can see you can just line it up relatively easy anyway. So this is going to come down and indeed line up, and then we might as well take the back of the vehicle parts. This again has got a huge cutout there and two tabs there, and this will just slot into position like so. There we go. So that's slotted in. I actually thinking honestly that's popped out, but I'm just going to correct it. Yes, it did. The ball and socket had popped out on the underside. I've just pushed it in. I'm going to sort the forearms out in a minute, guys. In fact, yeah, because I want to sort the legs out. So let's take this part, which is the wheel, and we're going to bring it this is where it starts. This is where it starts. I'm not going to, as I say, parts from it completely. I want you to see me trying to do it. This part was the knee. What we're going to do is we're going to collapse the leg forward and over on itself and push that back into the back of the vehicle at the same time. Right, we need to now turn this part around. It just keeps popping off, and that's just popped off now. So don't worry, there will be no swearing. There'll be absolutely no swearing, but I want you to see just, I don't want to say bad, but there's no other word I can use for it, how bad it is. We need to get this black part, the circle, facing in, and then what we also need to do is rotate around the wheel. So what we've got is, Yeah, see the ball and socket there that's coming off? This needs to be up, but it needs to be turned around. So it's going to come up and over like that. So that's how you would reattach it. I'm going to do my absolute very best to do it like that on the other side. And then what this enables you to do is bring this down and indeed slot that into there as well. So we can see what we're trying to do. It's just a case of moving the toes out of the way. Here we go, collapsing this black lever here. So folding that in, we need to turn this part, as you say, all the way around on its ball and socket like so, and turn the toe at the same time. Keep turning this. Oh, no, which one's come off? That's come off. All I was doing is just turning this up and then turning that to the side. Too many ball and sockets. That will attach to the side. And of course, don't forget, you're going to then collapse over the leg. And I hadn't turned that around, so I didn't cheat. I could have cheated. I could have just parts formed him straight in. Rotate it around, which to be honest, is probably a world easier. Click that in place there. Oh, that's my fault. I got that part of the leg caught up. Make sure the toes are down, like so. Now we'll turn our attention to the forearms. Bring these down. Rotate it around, like so. So the forearm part's facing in, and indeed turn the fist. Push down. The good thing about this figure is, if I haven't said it already, it comes packaged in robot mode. So you may never have to do this. You may never have to do this. Right, that is how it needs to be looking. So I'm going to hold that there for you. That's how the bottom should be looking. Then you're going to take this large gun. You're going to slide this in and over. I'm going to attach this via them two tabs in the back of the spoiler. Clip it together and fold down the cover. Fold the feet up. And there you go. So number one, I hope it helps you out. Number two, we're going to go backwards the other way straight away right now. Okay then, let's take him back to robot mode. Now this unfortunately is even more tricky because everything that we've, I suppose, put into place here does pop off quite easy. So let's have a go anyways. Let's just start separating the spoiler. Like I said in the first part of the video, the most important thing for this for me is if anybody can learn from it, or if they have the same problems, again, they can learn from it or realise it's not just their copy. Right, so let's have a go then with separating this part here, which is again the back part of the leg. Now you do run the risk, as soon as we separate this from here, that tab there, that sometimes the leg will disconnect. At the moment I've completely got lucky, that has stayed attached just for now. That one didn't. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to attach that there, but turn it out of the way already. I can do the same with this side if I want, just turn that down. And then to be honest, I'm going to do the same with this back part. I'm just going to disconnect that like so. And then let's get these legs out of the way. So if you lift this part up ever so slightly, you don't necessarily have to, it just means that you've got a lot of clearance now where you can bring this forward and then fold that over. Because if you remember, that's pretty much the top of the knee. So I've lifted up that black flap there, I'm going to cascade the leg back out, fold that down, and while this part is up and just sort of out of the way, again, if you can, I'm going to rotate. I probably shouldn't have done this, probably should have saved it till later. I'm going to rotate them around now. Funnily enough, it does say in the instructions go in the opposite way to do this. One of the last things, I'm not. I'm going to keep that one there because as you can see, there's still too much going on holding it in place. Let's take the side panels of the door. Let's disconnect this all here and then try carefully to sort of wedge this up via underneath the windscreen. And then once we've got this up, and I was going to say airborne, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Let's move the fists out of the way. This is giving us more chance. There you go. You can actually apply pressure there to push it back. So I don't mean airborne as an airborne. I mean airborne as in out of the way, like so. So now we can then take, there we go. There's something else. The back of the skirt up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. While it's up, I'm going to rotate that leg around, and then I'm going to reattach this, which... There we go, that one's not too bad. I'm then going to separate these parts at the back as well and just turn these into a little bit, I suppose, of like skirts. Oh man, so they're just flaring out. I promise you, I am not being heavy-handed with this. If anything, I am being really, really careful because I know how bad it is. I've transformed this, probably way more times than any other figure just to make sure that it isn't me. But as you can see, it is really, really awkward. Right, let's turn our attention to the feet. So what we want to do is we want to bring roll that part down, but then spin the black part around at the back, because that's sort of going to be a bit of a heel, but you want the toes, so let's get this one out of the way, to be the front. So let's spin that around there. That's going to be like a heel, which you can see. Let's move the whole of this, the wheel section, all the way around. Turn the foot around because it's on a ball and socket. And then what I was going to do is sweep this around and up, but as you can see, it popped off. So I'm going to click it in, and then I'm still going to sweep it up because you need it to form basically the back of the leg, like so. So let's try and do that with this side without it popping off, so I can move this leg pretty much out of the way. So what we're looking to do then is fold this part down and then keep this bit at the back. So we're going to spin this around a full 360 degrees. There is the heel. Let's bring this part of the outside around because that's what just popped off, if you remember. Turn the foot around. It's done it again. Turn the foot around to face forwards. And then, of course, you would have, this was over here, so you would just do exactly that. You're going to rotate that back up. So what you've got is your feet and your legs are looking something like that. So there they are. They're not too bad. Right, let's get this part up and just have it slightly out of the way for now. We don't want that anywhere near. I, in fact, fold them up. Some people don't. I just think it gives you that little bit more clearance. Right, let's turn our attention to the upper part. So separate what we know are going to be the shoulders like this. Bring these around. And now when you're doing this part, it's really important that you fold this flap out of the way and then give yourself as much clearance around the head as you can. Otherwise, again, you will just pop it off. So that will then come around here. It'll fit underneath and it will snugly fit over and around his head like so. There we go. And that'll fit in there. Now it's just a case of tidying everything up. So make sure these are out of the way, which they are. Now what we're looking to do then, this part must stay up. Now, if you remember with these are going to be the wings. So let's hold on to this, fold it out. And then what we're looking to do is spin it round and lift it up like so. I did that and then typically that just popped out. So that's what we're looking to do. So fold this carefully out. It's so good that they do pop off. Hold it in there, which is what I'm trying to do. Rotate this up. There we go. No, it hasn't. I thought it had stayed in that time. It should do. They are balls. As I said, they are ball and sockets. They should stay in, and they do sometimes. See, it's stayed in. No, it hasn't stayed in now. Let's click it in and bring it. In fact, let's see what's happening. Let's push it in. I don't really want to cheat, and just parts form it. I want you guys to see that it can be done, but it's just beyond that. Stayed in that time. Now bring it up and lift that over. And that's pretty much it, thank heavens. Fold the shoulders out, bring the arms down, correct the orientation of the bicep and of course the fist. Same on this side, lift the shoulders up, bring this arm down, correct the orientation and turn that around. And let's just stand him up, lift these parts out of the way, and that is that. I'd love to know your comments in there, please, about this. And again, please, if I am doing this totally wrong, you've got to let me know. The only people I've ever spoke to are other owners. I've not watched any videos, and everybody's got the same thing. Right, there we go, guys. Hope it helps.